Tonight, doctors are working to save the life of an Independence police officer seriously wounded in a shootout this morning.
The man who shot the officer is dead, killed by another officer. We have team coverage for you tonight of the shooting and the investigation into what happened.
We want to begin with KCTV5's Abby Dodge, who is live at the scene where the shootout happened. Abby?
Well, officers are still blocking this part of Northern Boulevard just off of 23rd Street. Now, this scene out here went from streets lined with police officers and first responders to the slow trickle of officers comparable to an everyday investigation. The home where the shooting happened is about a block down this road that you're looking at right now. At this morning's media briefing, we learned more about why this police officer involved shooting occurred. Troopers say the officers responded around 11:30 this morning. There was a tip that involved a person in the area being potentially wanted for something. Troopers are investigating when that call came in and what the exact wording of the tip was. When officers arrived, a man fired at them, hitting one officer. The other officer shot at the suspect, killing him. Sergeant Andy Bell with Missouri State Highway Patrol says the next step in this case is to gather evidence here and talk to neighbors. They also plan to figure out exactly where that tip came from and about what the wanted man was wanted for.
Like, what was the original nature of the call, right? We want to explore that. Lots of different things are going to take place over a course of several weeks, not days, but several weeks, maybe even months, for our investigators to work as a team with Independence Police Department, trying to gather any and all data.
We asked this morning where that officer was shot, and troopers weren't able to give that information to us, but we are working to learn more. Live in Independence, Abby Dodge, KCTV5 News.
Abby, thank you for the update. And obviously something like this touches officers all across the metro. KCTV5's Betsy Webster just spoke to the head of Kansas City's Fraternal Order of Police. Betsy.
Well, he said he's been at the Independence Police Department's FOP Lodge ever since he got the call about this and rushed over. Now, he would not comment on the specifics of what happened today on the scene, but said that the support for the officer shot here this morning has been swift and widespread. The various lodges in the metro have officers who've been trained as peer support specialists, and he said at least 10 agencies have deployed those folks to the hospital, to the lodge, to private homes, and more. He also described what's happening right now, specifically at the local FOP Lodge today.
Being with this, with Independence FOP the last couple hours and watching the city manager show up or the manager's office and their HR office and city employees showing up and showing love to the men and women that do this job that are just, waiting, for the best news that they can possibly hear is just. And people showing up and giving them food, and it's just been incredible to watch.
Now, dealing with an officer who's been seriously hurt in a shooting in the line of duty is not new for either police agency. Just last year, Kansas City police officer Tyler Moss was shot in the head, and in 2017, Independence officer Thomas Wagstaff was shot in the head. Both of them survived. We do not know the specifics or extent of the injuries this officer sustained. Reporting live in Independence, Missouri, Betsy Webster, KCTV5 News.
Thanks, Betsy. Now, the shooting happened near a busy part of Independence. KCTV5's Leslie Aguilar spoke with people who were in the area when the shots were fired. Leslie, were people shocked by all of this?
Yes and no, Brad. People did seem shocked that an officer was shot and a suspect killed in broad daylight in the middle of the day, but they say that they are used to crime in this area. It was quite a chaotic scene for quite a while today. The shootout happened in a residential area that is super close to a lot of businesses on 23rd Street. When the officer was shot, causing law enforcement to flood the area, many people assumed this nearby bank near the crime scene had been robbed. That was not the case. Officers shut down 23rd and several streets surrounding the crime scene while they processed what happened, and during that time, a crowd of spectators grew.
Any time first responders are involved, or it's heart-wrenching. And unfortunately, we get way too much police chases, car chase. it used to be pretty quiet here in Independence, and over the years, it's not so quiet anymore.
So I was coming down off 23rd and Sterling from a DoorDash order, and I heard multiple shots fired, like tat, 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 tat. And I kept telling her, I was like, well, let's just see, because there was a whole bunch of cops just pulling everybody over coming down the street.
Now, people are also anxious to hear the identity of that suspect who was killed by police today. It's unclear whether he lives in the area. People are also wanting to get an update on the condition of that police officer. Reporting live in Independence, Leslie Aguilar, KCTV 5 News.
Thank you, Leslie. Independence Mayor Eileen Weir says her thoughts are with the officer, their family, and the entire police department. In a statement, she said, every day the officers of the Independence Police Department put their lives on the line to protect the citizens of our community. We are ever hopeful that their daily interactions with the public will be peaceful so that they might return home to their families safely at the end of their shift. Today, that was not the case.
Now, the last Independence police officer who was shot was hurt back in late March. He survived that shooting. The officer was responding to a fight between neighbors. The suspect who shot him was killed. Now, the last Independence officer who was killed in the line of duty was Officer Terry Foster. That shooting happened more than 20 years ago. Foster was killed back in 2001 while responding to a domestic disturbance call. Of course, we'll keep you informed on any updates on today's officer who was hurt on our KCTV 5 News app.